Hey guys, time for another tutorial in After Effects. Today we are going to create this donut chart here, half donut chart, actually in the
election half donut chart,
where you can show the results of elections. We are talking a lot about elections here around the world. It's a good period for elections, so you might be interested in showing the results. So it's going to be easy. We are going to use some expressions, and even if you don't give a shit about elections, you will learn a ton about expressions. So let's jump into After Effects and see how we can do this. You can just copy the expressions on the screen and see the result on your own machine. Let's start. So this is how the project will look like in After Effects once we have completed it. As you can see, there's a background layer. There are some shape layers here, which actually represent the chart. Then there's a slice over, another shape layer, which is used to create this shadow effect here. As you can see, let me disable it and enable it again, what it does. And then we have some text layers with the name and the result that will be shown. So you can see there is some animation that you can see that the result is also dynamic. And it's changing values as we move the effects. So let's see how we can do this. Let's create this from scratch. So let's create a new composition. Okay. And let's add a new shape layer like that. It's empty, of course. We're going to add a path. We are going to add a stroke. And finally, we are going to add a trim path. Okay. We will also need some effects on this. We will need something from expression control, the slider. And then we will also need a fill effect to give some color. The slider control, enter, we're going to call it percent, and fill, we can leave it at fill. So, and we will also rename the shape layer. Let's call it slice 1. I put the number because once we have completed this first shape layer, we'll just need to press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and it will work perfectly. So like that, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, and you will have as many as you need. So let me get back to the first one, because we will need to put some code inside that. So first of all, let's create something in the path, because we will need to create this semicircle like that. Okay, I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm going to get what I've done previously this morning, and I will copy this in there. So Ctrl C, you can copy as well. So click on Alt, click on the stopwatch here, Option click if you have a Mac, Ctrl V, and here it is. Let me just explain to you how this works. The radius is 300. You can put something else if you like. You see that now we have created this semicircle. If you want to have something bigger, you can put 400, and that's it. No problem. You can choose whatever you like. And this ratio is just take it like it is. It's used to calculate the tangents of the path in here. If you want to create a semicircle, you have to use this ratio here. But just copy this code here and you will be fine. Let me remind you that if you are not in the mood to copy everything, you can always subscribe to my channel on Gumroad. With a basic subscription of $2 a month, you can have access to all the source code of all the projects I do in my tutorials. So, let's get back to our composition. Now that we have the path, we will need to do something with the stroke because we want the stroke to be thicker. So let's go to the stroke and let's put something much bigger, like 300. Okay, this looks much more like a donut chart now. And yeah, let's keep it like that. You see that it's not, it's red because the color is, the color of the stroke is overridden by the effects fill. We will use the fill to set the color afterwards. So let's close the stroke and let's start working on the trim path, because we want to use the end, the parameter end, to tell which is the percent that we want to set. Okay, we will need to write some expressions here. Don't worry, just copy them and then you can start playing with them and see what happens. So let me get back to the trim path and let's see what we have here. So we will need to have to set the end, because we need the percent of the voters that we have for each party. So it's just getting the value of the slider. So in here, I'll click on the end and we just get this. You can also do that by simply getting the pick whip and get the slider value like that. Okay. And now if you put, you see, if you move the effect per slider, you can tell which is the width of this slice. Now, what you can do is to set an offset, because for the first one, the first slice, it will always be 0, the offset. But for the following ones, we will want the slice to start from the end of the previous one, from here to there. So we will need to work on the offset. Okay. So how do we work on the offset? I have written this very nice expression. And what does it do? It just, first of all, we need to get the name with the number 1 from the slice. I told you that I want this to be easily expandable. So we want just to, by duplicating this layer, we want to change the number here, so that there will be no problem in having the right connection to the text I give you. And we also need to know which is the previous layer. So let's copy this and let's copy it here, offset. And here we go. You see that if ID in this case is 1, okay, previous ID is 0, and that's if previous ID is 0, then this parameter offset is 0, and that is what we want because it's the first one. Otherwise, you have to get the previous layer, so slice previous ID. You need to get the percent of the previous layer plus the offset of the previous layer. This will give you the offset of the present layer, of the current layer. Okay? Just copy it. You will see that it works. You can start playing with that afterwards if you want to change something or have fun. Okay? Now, what do we need to do is just to duplicate this slice. We have slice 2. You see that we already have 2, 3, 4, 5. You see? Because every time the following layer is going to the end of the previous one. So now there is something more that we can do. So let me get back to the first one. Let me add a layer style stroke. And this stroke, I want it to be the same color as the background and size 2. You don't see anything because it's the same color of the background, but once you duplicate it, you see that now you have this, they are divided, then you can see the division between the slices better. Now we have this, we can start playing, for instance, so let me put 4. 4 is a good starting point. So now we put 13, but we can put, I don't know, 20 for the first one, then we go to the second one, we put 25, 40 here, or maybe 30, and then finally we can put the last one, we can put 30, no, 25, sorry, as well, so that the sum is 100. So the only thing you will need to do is to check that the sum is always 100. Okay. Now, we can also add some animation to this. How do we do the animation? Well, the animation is really easy because you can just put an expression on the slider. You see that I have just put an expression here. Let me write it because it's really easy and it's easier to explain it while writing it rather than copying it. So you have the effect which is 20. You have given a value, but you can also write an expression over this value. So I'll click on this and I want this first value to be calculated by this expression, which is is. And when time, this is the real execution time, the time of the project. So when time goes from 0 to 3 seconds, okay, I want this value to go from 0 to its value, and the value is 20, the one which we have put there. Now you see that. Now we put only on the first one, so you see that in 3 seconds, you see that it's doing this animation. You can also put linear if you want. This will give you a linear animation, but you would prefer to put an easy animation, which is nicer to watch. Okay, so let's do the same for all the others. So let me copy this. I already changed the values, so this time I will just write here I will copy the expression for all of them because I don't want to change all the values again. So click here and Ctrl V. Now you see that when we start, we have 0 for all of them, and it's opening like that. So this is 3 seconds. In the other animation, I did 2 seconds. Yeah, that's up to you, what you like. Okay, now let's start. We can also change the colors, of course. So slice 4, and then we can put whatever you like. And then slice 3, we can change no, like that. And slice 2, we can put something greenish like that, and this can stay. I just don't like it's too strong, this red. Let me put something more calm. Okay, now we have this. What we need to do is to add some text. Now that you also have this, let me, you can also center them actually. So you select all of them and you can go to the align position. So let's add some text now. So we add the text. So let me get back to let me show you how it works. There's just the text layer with some expressions and then the animator to animate. You see that the layer is not written completely at the beginning. There is an animator on the source text. So let's get a new text layer and we call it text 1. Okay. Now you see, okay, it's empty. There's nothing in the source text. What we want to do is to add an expression to the source text. So we want to know which is the ID, because we need to link it to the correct slice. And then once we have that, we are going to get that layer ID, the slice ID. We're going to get the per slider, and we are going to get its values with 1 decimal place. And then we are going to write party, but you can write whatever you like here, the name of the party, for instance, and then a new line character, and then the number, and then the percent sign. So let's copy it in the account, and then I'll click copy it here, and you see that we have the first layer. Okay, it's not positioned correctly because we will want it to be positioned here over the correct slice. But how do we do that? So we will need to play a little bit with another position. So we need to go to position, and then we will need to write a lot of code here. Let me explain what this does. So first of all, we need to get the ID of the layer, first one, second one, okay. Then we will need to get the layer, reference the layer. We will need to calculate the offset of this. Let me show you like that so that we can have a reference here. The offset of this layer and the end of this layer will give me the position here. Okay, so I want this position to be divided, the percent to be divided by 2, because I want to stay in the middle of this arc. And this is an arc. And then I want to calculate the offset plus the percent like that. And then I'm going to use the P point on path. Point on path is an expression which allows you to tell which is the position on the screen of the top of the line. So let me copy that. I'll copy it over to the position. If you have separate dimensions, you just right click and put them together. Then Alt click and Control V. You see that magic happens. The text is in the middle. Wonderful. And it's also dynamically working. I just want to add a small, I don't want the text actually to be seen when there's nothing. So I am going to add another animation over the text, and we will animate the scale. You can do something else if you like, but with the scale, what you can do is to put the value to 0, and then in the range selector, you see that you can start from 0 and show it till the end to 100. So you can just add an expression to this. So Alt click on Start, and we can use linear this time. So because it will not be much of a difference, and maybe it's a little bit easier to calculate for After Effects. So when time goes from 0 to, I don't know, 2 seconds maybe, we want this start parameters to go from 0 to 100. Okay, you see in 2 seconds, you see that now I go back from 2 seconds, the values disappear and they are getting smaller one by one. So that at 0 we don't have anything, but they appear when they need. Okay, now we are happy with this. We can just duplicate this text one, Control D, Control D, Control D, or Command D if you have Mac, of course. And voila, we have our animation with the values that we like. Now, if you want to change this party text, what you're gonna do is, let's get the third one, for instance. You just need to go to the text and then here and then to the expression, and this is where you need to modify the text. For instance, this is a right party. Well, you can write like that, and this is just what you need to do. You can put some animations. For instance, once you have 3 seconds and all the values are shown, for instance, at 5 seconds, you can want to show maybe an animation of the voters between two different sessions. So at 5 seconds, for instance, you can add a keyframe. So just click on the stopwatch to add a keyframe. So slice 1, press U to show it here on the timeline. Then maybe press F9 to make it easy ease. And then you want to go from 20 to 30. So once you move to another point on the timeline, you put 30. And voila, you see that it goes. But you see that the other parties are scaling. So the fourth party will start again from start. So you will need to, if this goes from 20 to 30, the first one, you will need to another one to lose 10 voters, of course, because this is how it works in percent. So, for instance, I don't know, the slice 3, it goes from 30 to 20. So same, you can use J and K keys to move from one to the other. You go to the first one, you put a keyframe on the first one, then you go to the second one, then you go here, press U, and then you put this other value, 20. And also you need to be F9 on both of them. Maybe you press F9 once more to have the same. You see that it's working. We have this animation here. And that's it. The last thing we can do is to add this 3D effect that we had here on the internal part. So how do we do that? It's easy. Let's just get one of the slices. Control D, let's copy it and let's rename it to slice, I don't know, 3D, like that. And then let's open the layer and we can get rid of the trim path because we will not need that. And then we go to the path and we want it to be smaller, like, I don't know, 100. And then we want the stroke to be a little bit smaller, like 100 as well. So let me select here the mode. We can go to normal, to luminosity, for instance. Let's put a color, a different color like that. And let's get rid of the layer style. Yeah, it's not working because this is, see, that's what's happening. It's right in the internal part. Claudio, wake up. This is not to be struck with, but somewhere maybe 150. And you see that we have it here now. You need just to put the same color as the background underneath, and you have it. So, we have our animation. And then it changes when we want.
And that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Put a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and all links in the description below as usual. Thanks. Bye.